Hey, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 197. I actually think I said last week's was episode 197. Last week's was 196. They all kind of blend together right now as we make the steady march to 200, and the 200th episode that we got special for you. We really need to advertise that better. I started, and then I kind of tapered off once we kind of got close to 700, which we have now crossed the threshold thanks to you awesome people. We have now passed 700 subscribers, so eventually we're going to talk about Jar Jar being a Sith Lord. It won't be this month, but I'm thinking the first week in November, once we're past Spoopy month, then we'll talk about Darth Jar Jar. It gives Josh and I plenty of prep time a la Batman to go back and watch the prequels again, except with the eyes of knowing the sins of the Gungan. That should be the title of the episode right there.
Oh my gosh. I'm all over this now. I love it. Hi, my name's Josh. I'm here with crisp, clean audio from a new mic, baby.
It only took 197 episodes.
Yeah, and part of it's me actually like knowing a little bit more about mics now and like actually like understanding how marketplaces work and what's an actual affordable mic. But yeah, so here we are with crisp, clean audio now, so you can hear my stupid ramblings in much clearer than before now, I guess, in
wonderful stereo sound. What we need to do now is just find like some online games and pull a full-on Markiplier Bob and Wade and company. That Dead by Daylight, man. I'm down for some of that.
But I don't think they want to hear your screams. So, or my
I said
excessive
Dead
cursing.
by Daylight, not Fall Guys. If you ever want to see me not be myself, Fall Guys. It's not a pretty story.
Man.
But Josh, speaking of not a pretty story, you watching anything recently?
I watched. Speaking of a pretty story, finally saw the finale for Rings of Power season 1. Honestly, yeah, let's go. I'm ready for season 2. I know, like, 2 years cannot come fast enough.
Is it 2 years between seasons?
Yes.
Oh gosh,
it's gonna suck. But hey, gives them plenty of time to, I don't know, release Invincible season 2. When is that coming out? Anyway, regardless.
Don't worry, you're getting a game.
Yeah. Are we really?
Yeah, actually, an Invincible game got announced this week. Or
is
rumored in the pipeline.
Oh, okay, cool. So I'll believe it when I see a trailer. Anyway, and even that, I think the
just because a game is coming out doesn't mean it's going to be good. Gotham Knights this Friday.
Be bitter.
Oh, I'm not one of those like super tech nerds, but it's weird to me that Gotham Knights is topping out at 30 frames per second. That is very weird to me. Doesn't matter if you're playing it on PC or next gen, and it's only on next gen. I'm going, that's not a good sign, but I have problems. I'm playing it out of the way.
You're just like, I get to be Nightwing. All right, cool. I'm there. Cool, whatever.
It's just like Superman 64. It's that bad. I don't care. Nightwing's in it.
I don't care. But yeah, the finale's fantastic. All the theories I had leading into the finale were correct. Giving myself a little pat on the back. They do try to give you a little bit of a who is it? Whatever. But it's perfect. It's very, very well done. I continue to applaud the show. I know there's a lot of Tolkien heads that are like, this is a disgrace to Tolkien. I don't care. Like, it is very clearly Lord of the Rings, and it's an area of Lord of the Rings we've never seen before. And there's a lot of ways that, based off like that opening monologue from Fellowship of the Ring, on the way that Sauron kind of does things, it's very, very, I like where they're going, and I'm really excited for season 2. I also because I visited my brother and sister-in-law and my pregnant sister-in-law this past weekend and down in Texas, and my mom had just finished reading Where the Crawdads Sing.
So you watched the movie?
Yes. It's fine. It's not my cup of tea, but I mean, it's a thing that happens and it's cool. There's a nice little twist that if you have not read the book, it kind of comes out of nowhere, but only because they not nowhere, but they do a very good job of selling that's not the twist. So it's nice. It's a good movie. It's not my cup of tea, but I enjoyed it.
Speaking of twist, I saw Halloween Ends opening night with Heather.
Hey!
Now, I'm not going to go into what the twist is or any spoilers, because unlike the movie, I actually care about my audience.
Oh.
Halloween Ends is a movie that I saw this year. I texted you and a couple of other people that I know that are Halloween fans, and I texted them going, Halloween Ends is a movie in a Halloween franchise. That's about all I can say. It's my least favorite in the entire franchise now that I've had time to marinate on it.
Really?
I think
Okay.
I'd rather go back and watch Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and I can't tell you why because it's spoilers, but again, this feels like the Star Wars sequel trilogy of each movie is completely separate from the one before and there's no cohesive storyline, but the thing is, we had a director in between with Rian Johnson for the Star Wars trilogy, whereas it was David Gordon Green the entire time. So what was the problem here? It excels at some things and really drops the ball on some other things. It's very difficult to talk about without spoilers, and everything revolves around one thing. All my issues really come down to one thing, but that one thing takes up a good chunk of this movie, and the focus I don't believe is in the right spot for this. Yeah, it's a thing. But I'm seeing Black Adam this Friday. It's funny. I'm still excited for it, but the Rotten Tomatoes came out like right before we started recording for this, and I think it's currently sitting at 47%, which I'm going, that's lower than I was expecting, but at the same time, I can't say I'm surprised because I say this admiring all that The Rock has done in Hollywood. The Rock doesn't always go for the highest quality movies. He goes for the popcorn movies. And that's totally fine. Unlike Vin Diesel, The Rock knows he's making popcorn movies. Vin Diesel's just like, I'm making art for families. But
which is not, dude. I recently, I don't know why, but speaking of Vin Diesel, that what is the third Triple X movie popped in my head the other day, and I was
Return of
just sitting there
Xander Cage.
Gosh, I love that movie so much, but like, you're right though. Like, that's just a popcorn movie. There's not much else going on.
Like, if you're making a popcorn movie, that's totally fine. Own up to it. But everyone's just like, yeah, the Justice Society are the best things about this movie. I'm going, that's kind of why I'm seeing this movie. And they're like, Black Adam gets pushed to the side. I'm going, yeah, that's fine. I never wanted to see Black Adam. I cared more about Dr. Fate and Hawkman. If you're telling me they're more interesting, I might walk away happy, especially for some other things that we're not going to talk about that specific detail, but we'll talk in a roundabout way about it in a little bit here. I'm trying to think if I've watched anything else. Just an update. Heather and I, like I said, have been going through Smallville for the longest time. Now we're on the second to last season, which is crazier in season 9. And now he's wearing like this like black and silver outfit that's kind of like their version of the Rebirth suit.
Yeah.
Here's why I don't hate it, actually. So the end of season 8, he quote unquote fights Doomsday. It's super fight, super short because TV budget, naturally.
Love it. Yeah, of course.
Krypton had the same problem. But by the end of that season, the beginning of season 9, Clark is under the impression that he has to just get rid of his human side entirely and be full Kryptonian to save the Earth. And that's why he says Clark Kent is dead. And it's a metaphoric sense that Doomsday killed him. And that's why he's wearing the black. And I'm going, you know what? I actually kind of don't hate that. It's an interesting concept because I know the long term is he's not going to have the black forever. If he ended the show with him in this stupid discount Matrix outfit, then I would be kind of mad. But I'm like, I kind of like that story direction that they're going for. Tom Welling is still kind of hit or miss. It all kind of depends on the episode and who's with him. There are certain members of the cast that make everyone else around them better, and then there's other ones that are just kind of there. But also, I had heard for the longest time that the first 5 seasons of Smallville are great. The last 5 seasons of Smallville are terrible. I don't think that's the case. It's very much the formula of like the first couple episodes in every season are really good. And it's somewhere along the middle of the season they do some weird stuff that I don't know where that came from. And then the finale happens and then rinse and repeat with some mild references towards the tail end of the season that never really come together. It's still mildly entertaining. It's good. It's a good show to go through. But Anything else you're watching, Josh? Or are we ready to stop postponing stuff?
I'm not really, man. I've kind of been there's just, when I got the time, I watch a lot of YouTube, but yeah.
Oh,
So
same.
I love that you and I just basically trade Markiplier videos at this point.
Did you watch the one I sent you with the mic?
So what's really, really, really funny is I hadn't had a chance to watch it yet, right? And so because it's just of work or whatever, and I sat down later that night and like clicked the next Markiplier video, which actually turned out to be the video you sent me, and I was about to send it to you and was like, oh, that's the same video he sent me earlier today. All right, well, I feel terrible. I'm a bad friend.
Because we all know the feeling of going, what is this problem? Oh, it's not plugged in.
Whoa! Oh, that's what it is.
Now, we've put it off long enough.
Yeah.
Just like Warner Brothers put it off long enough because Warner Brothers are stupid. But good thing that regime is kicking the can and letting the door hit him on the way out. Literally this week, Walter Hamada is on his way out of Warner Brothers Discovery this week, so we can herald the return of Henry Cavill Superman. The day is finally here. And I say that reference with full intention because it was apparently that man that's responsible for everything good in the world right now. So, like the man that I am, I will apologize to you, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, our most avid listener on the show. I said like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I said like 2 or 3 weeks ago that The Rock only cares about The Rock when it comes to fan service, and Dwayne Johnson's fan service is different than Ryan Reynolds' fan service. Well, Dwayne Johnson apparently is the one to thank for having Henry Cavill, the glorious Henry Cavill, returning as the Man of Steel, as he's very much been going to bat for the return of Cavill for 6 to 7 years. I'm just picturing Dwayne Johnson just going, can we have him? Can we have him? Like a kid going, are we there yet? Just keep poking. No. Oh, I have a new boss now? Hey, can I? Oh, yeah, sure, that's fine. It's like when you're at work and you're doing some stupid stuff and your boss yells at you and then you get a new boss and your new boss is totally fine with whatever shenanigans that you were doing before. They're like, oh, yeah, that's fine. That's exactly what's happening here. Superman! Yeah, I have no worries. I mean, we've had some Superman stuff where they're like, yeah, JJ's doing his own thing. No. I don't care what JJ's doing. Also, I might talk about that in a little bit here. What is JJ doing nowadays? But
yeah, man, I'm super stoked. It's awesome to have Henry back. Obviously, like there is that caveat of like, okay, but we just canceled a bunch of stuff, so where's this landing? Where like to me, it like as excited as I am, it adds more questions, like a whole another batch of questions to the docket, before I can get like super excited. But it is what it is,
So I do think the timing of this article, and we'll delve more into the other stories that came out with this, had very interesting timing, as it was the same day that we find out Ezra Miller could face up to 26 years in prison. And I'm going,
no way. No way. I didn't catch that. Oh, dog, that's crazy.
I highly doubt Ezra's getting 26 years.
Oh, no.
But more than likely, they are looking at some form of jail time. I mean, we'll talk about Flash stuff in our next news topic, but I'm going, once again, interesting timing nonetheless. And also, I think it's interesting. This article came out Monday night, and Tuesday, when we're recording this, is when the review embargo for Black Adam came out. And I think maybe WB knew that the reviews were going to be kind of tepid on Black Adam, and they need Black Adam to do well. So they're just like, let's just get everyone super excited for for the future of DC. And then we'll carry that momentum to the opening weekend of Black Adam and hope that works and trickles down to that, so to speak, of just like, rising tides lift all ships type of situation. I don't know if this news will impact this box office success of Black Adam, but I gotta think it does. Now, there's a whole long list of things that are being reported with this, and this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, which is why I'm confident talking about it on the show. It's not like rumors and speculation like it's been for a really long time, because as we jokingly have said many times on the podcast, it's the boy who cried Cavill of Henry Cavill is coming back. Henry Cavill's done as Superman. Henry Cavill's coming back. It's been wishy-washy, but now that like actual major trades are saying it, feels pretty definitive. But they're saying that they're currently actively looking for writers, with one of the names at the top of their list being Christopher McQuarrie, who just did the last 2 Mission Impossibles and will do the last 2, but most recently just co-wrote Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick is my favorite movie of the year still. I love the Mission Impossibles that he's done. I'm looking forward to his last 2 that he's going to wrap up the series with. But most importantly, what gets me excited about the potential of Christopher McQuarrie doing this is circle all the way back to 2018 when Mission Impossible Fallout was coming out, directed by Christopher McQuarrie, starring Henry Cavill. Apparently, Christopher McQuarrie and Henry Cavill both came together to Warner Brothers to pitch a Superman idea, and Warner Brothers is like, nah. So Christopher McQuarrie already has a Superman story in his back pocket, and both McQuarrie and Cavill have described the Superman that they would want of the brighter, more optimistic Superman going forward, which I think makes sense. And I think there's ways that you can go about this of even people that are diehard Snyder fans can accept what's happening of everything that happened, Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, that all happened because I'm assuming this movie takes place post The Flash. Whatever happens with the Flash movie, we can just say it reset whatever's going on with Superman. All the stuff already happened to him, and he went through it all, but it kind of refreshed him, so to speak. Superman Rebirth, so to speak.
As long as we don't get a Rebirth version of Superman, I think we'll be okay, though.
Hey, no, Rebirth Superman is great. It's New 52 that's bad.
Okay, sure. All right. But no, yeah, I think there definitely is like a lot of I think you and I have both seen a lot of like initial like, okay, we're excited, but like, wait, hold on, like very tepid. I'm kind of laughing to myself a little bit because it's like, oh yeah, a new Superman movie with Henry Cavill returning in the early stages being like, hey Cavill, you want to be Superman? Yeah, I'm good. All right, cool. Yeah, so it's going to be Henry Cavill is Superman in the new movie. I wouldn't doubt if like the early stages is them asking Cavill if he wants to do it, and that's it. that was the only thing that's how early they are in it. I definitely have the questions for you though, as far as like, do you feel like?
Oh, I feel something.
I mean, obviously you're excited, but at the same time, how does this look from like almost a PR standpoint of like, okay, cool. So as a company, we just canceled like a bunch of movies, not The Flash, but even though it's the one that deserves it most likely,
they need The Flash to work too much though.
That's, I think, the problem. How do you think this affects like the view of the merger in general, with them being like, all right, cool. So, cancel all this stuff, but we're bringing Henry back, guys. I promise we're bringing Henry back. I was like, okay, cool, I guess. But
before I forget, because I'm sure I will when it comes to our next news topic. Yeah. You bring up cancellations. They quietly canceled the Zatanna movie that they're working on. Yeah. They're going to shop that around. I think I'm more okay with them bringing back Henry Cavill and announcing a new Superman movie when they were canceling Batgirl, Zatanna, more than likely the Supergirl movie starring Sasha Calle, because the new regime, Warner Bros. Discovery, while we still think they're making a lot of mistakes, it seemed like they were trying to get back to the core characters that people knew and recognized first before branching off to do the more obscure characters. They want to get the foundation of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, all the core DC characters down pat first before getting into the tertiary characters like a Zatanna, like a Batgirl, because the box office hasn't always been too kind to the non-recognizable IPs. The Suicide Squad, while it was one of our favorite movies of last year, did not do particularly well. It could have been off the
Yeah.
reputation of the previous Suicide Squad, but it also could have
What?
been
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
name recognition. But then, as much as we also love Shazam, it didn't do as well as some other DC movies. Granted, it didn't have as big of a budget, so it didn't need to do as well. But box office, it didn't deliver as much. It was still a success. And I think part of that was the brand recognition of the name Shazam. So I think they go, okay, right now, our team sucks. So we can't be trying to hit home runs every single time. We need solid singles and doubles.
Yeah. We're the Astros 10 years ago.
Oh, you mean the Lastros?
Yeah. Where the you could get a decent seat in the balcony for like a couple bucks. Now, good luck getting a nosebleed for something under $10. So
Which, as much as I hate the Astros, that stadium is gorgeous.
it's gorgeous stadium. It's a great team.
Still
Anyway,
bitter they took out the hill.
Yeah, I mean I am too. But hey, how about that sweep, baby? How about that sweep? Anyway, not gonna devolve into.
I was rooting for the Mariners, gosh dang it.
Everybody was.
It was 21 years, almost as long as we were waiting for Henry Cavill to come back. Bang, I'm on
not so
point
long.
tonight. I think, and I've already heard this comparison, but I completely agree. I think Henry Cavill Superman, for whatever this new movie will be very similar to what Marvel is doing with Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Of, here's the version that you got before. We're going to do something slightly different, but using the same core cast that was used before, but kind of a fresher coat of paint. You can consider the older stories that were pre-existing canon, or you can not. You could jump in from this new point or not. I think it's up to the audience how they're reacting to it. I think this could very easily just be titled Superman, just straight up, or I like Superman Rebirth. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a slightly newer costume. Anything else, just color.
He will.
Just new, just colors. I love the suit. It just needs more color.
Yeah, any color would be great. Yeah. No, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get probably a newer suit, probably less of the odd like latex style. But yeah, I'd be intrigued to see what new places we go, and I think the excitement here for me is to see what villains we have.
Brainiac.
Hey, look at that. We can recast Lex Luthor. Oh God, yeah. Oh,
Bryan Cranston. Fix the mistake you made all those years ago.
I'm not like a part. I don't subscribe to the Bryan Cranston one, but like it's still like the opportunity to recast some of those mistakes in the Snyderverse is huge, and I'm super excited about that.
Well, if it wasn't, Henry Cavill returning as Superman, that news story would have just been lumped into this other thing, because the Hollywood Reporter also had a bunch of just other ancillary DC projects that apparently, wow, DC's been very, very busy on the back burner without us even knowing about it, as we have stuff for The Flash, Batman spin-offs, and whatever James Gunn's working on. So let's start with Batman. Apparently Matt Reeves is very much open to fleshing out more of the Batverse, the Pattinson-verse, so to speak. And he's basically taking story pitches from other writers and directors about Batman villains, and he specifically called out Scarecrow, Clayface, and Professor Pig, to which I'm just going, so not only does The Rock listen to our podcast, but Matt Reeves also listens to the Uncharted Media podcast, because we have been calling for not only Clayface, but Professor Pig for the longest time. But clearly Matt Reeves hasn't listened to us long enough to put Court of Owls in the first Batman movie. It's okay. You could put him in the sequel along with Dick Grayson. Yeah.
As long as you do Brendan Fraser as Clayface, I think we'll be okay.
No, again, take my idea of multiple actors playing Clayface. Yeah,
there's that too. Yeah. But he also was like doing Scarecrow, which, I mean, Scarecrow was the titular villain. To me, the titular villain of Batman Begins. But at the same time, like, Scarecrow's terrifying. Like, I don't see why not. Absolutely, dude. Having someone, especially the Batman that we have now, who's coming out of that stage of vengeance and into that stage of being justice, having him, that means he's gonna have to face his demons, and what better way to face your demons than have them being thrown at you by Scarecrow? Come on, it writes it's too good. I'm just excited about it.
But Clayface and Professor Pig. The funny thing is, apparently one of Josh and I's favorite directors, Mike Flanagan, has supposedly had an idea for a Clayface movie for years. So as soon as this news topic came out, his wife, Kate Siegel, immediately was just like, oh, Clayface, you say? And Mike Flanagan's like, oh, I have a chance? So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance.
Oh my gosh, Mike Flanagan just doing a DC movie, just, ooh. But
that'd be great. So
Professor Pig, for those that don't know, Professor Pig it's very similar, like a Hannibal Lecter type of, he's a dude that wears a pig mask that's obsessed with perfection and his quote unquote dolls. Like, it's just like making a murderer. Yeah, basically that type of shenanigans. If he's terrifying, I'm surprised Netflix hasn't tried to make a Professor Pig series yet, because he'd just be perfect for a Netflix documentary or a faux doc, or just faux documentary, man. I'm calling it what it is, a faux doc.
Dog, that'd be but that's such an interesting way to. That would be. I don't think there's really a lot of those out there that aren't. That it's not like Spinal Tap or they're usually comedies.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah. There's usually comedies though. So like, oh man, do like a fake murder like a murder mystery whatever kind of doc with, oh, that'd be fun. That with like so if they're bringing Professor Pig in, my only request is just a little bit, just like a cameo, somehow of Zaz. I need Zaz of all the rogues gallery of Batman fits, I think, more perfectly than Joker does in this particular Batman's world. Joker's fine, sure, but we've seen so many incarnations of him. I am ready to have some of these quote unquote lesser villains, get some like better screen time, and Zaz could be terrifying. Professor Pig could be terrifying. But essentially, we're just going to take all of the Batman's rogues galleries and turn them into the serial killers. Because why not at this point? Because that's kind of what they are at this, right? I mean, I don't think I can argue with me on that.
I love that Matt Reeves wants to turn them all into movies to even further flesh out the role. Can you imagine all these spin-off movies and then Batman catching them all at the end of their respective movies? And that to the point of a few movies down the road for the Batman movies, like the main core movies, he somehow gets trapped in Arkham Asylum. Yes, I know that's just stealing from the Ben Affleck movie that we could have got, but get all these established villains that have motive.
Or the important the video games.
It's not like the Arkham games are my favorite game franchise of all time, besides some other handsome devil that's a treasure hunter. I'm
not a treasure hunter.
You're not a handsome devil either.
Hey!
But so I'm fine with this. If they're doing this,
yeah,
open it up to more villains too. A Hugo Strange movie I think could be really interesting, a la A Cure for Wellness type situation there. But yeah, Matt Reeves, I really, really trust. But also they're working on a script for the Flash sequel that's apparently already been written, but they're just waiting to see on the success of the movie whether it gets greenlit or not. I'm going, oh, does your script include Wally West replacing Barry Allen? Because that's exactly what you should do. Because as we talked about earlier, you might be down on Flash unless, Ezra can Zoom call in his acting from prison.
He's in the sequel, but like only in the form of a Zoom call. Like, but they take the Zoom call and put it on Wally West's like watch or something. It just occasionally opens it, and there's Ezra Miller.
We thought the Henry Cavill mustache situation in 2017's Justice League was bad. Wait till they have to figure out a way to shoot around Ezra's prison jumpsuit. Or the movie, comp his face over some body double.
They call it a schedule. They're like, nah, we got to get around his
scheduling conflicts. 5 to 10 year scheduling conflict.
Sorry, guys. Oh man, he just won't be available for a while. We have no idea why. He won't tell us.
But okay,
but yeah,
so yes, they're working.
That's fine. I mean, it like you said, it definitely, to me, Barry needs to die. Or vanish at the end of the Flash so that they can recast, or maybe he changes into somebody else. Who knows? But definitely leaning more into Wally. That would be fantastic. I'm totally okay with that. Personally, I will always be more biased towards like Impulse or like somebody like that. But like Impulse can't be really a part of the Justice League. To me, Impulse works better in like a Teen Titans scenario, which anytime you want to pull that card out, that'd be fantastic. But like an actual Teen Titans, not that stupid like that little lame one that you've been doing. But yeah.
Oh, I can add that to a list too that we'll talk about here. But yeah, I think they are right to make a Flash script. And I know some people are like, what about Ezra Miller? Take everything with Ezra Miller aside, assuming Ezra Miller is not coming back for the sequel. From everything we're hearing, the Flash movie itself is really good, and that's why they're pushing forward with it, because they have a lot of faith in it as a quality movie. But then again, the studio had really high hopes and thought Batman vs. Superman was a great movie. So you never know, but supposedly they have a lot of faith in the Flash, and if it does well, yeah, you're going to greenlight a sequel. Probably just don't bring Ezra back. Like, just... It's hard not to talk about the Flash without this person involved in the situation, but you kind of have to look beyond it for some points of it. I still am excited for the Flash movie and excited what they do because I love the Flash character. It's just you got to detach Ezra from the situation, and then once it comes out, figure out what you're doing from there. Thankfully, there's other speedsters out there. You know, Jake Garrick. We've got Justice Society and a Flash movie. Put them together. Let's make that happen.
No, we just all of a sudden go straight to Godspeed, and he's our main character now. Godspeed is Flash. Sorry.
He had a full-on heel turn and a face turn off screen.
Oh, yeah.
So, lastly, in this Hollywood Reporter article that they talked about, they mentioned James Gunn is also working on a mystery DC movie, which I'm going, I feel like we talked about this not too long ago, but I think maybe this article is just kind of recapping all the stuff that's in development. So, I went ahead and thought of 5 things.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Went ahead and thought about 5 projects that I think could potentially be James Gunn's secret DC project that he's working on. Given that the Suicide Squad underperformed, it's still fantastic. It's still my favorite DCEU movie. I don't think it's Suicide Squad, but I could see him making a lateral move from the Suicide Squad to Secret Six, which for those that don't know, it's the Suicide Squad except with a different name and a slightly different roster. Maybe if they want like a new coat of paint on it, but they still like the idea of a Suicide Squad type movie, go with Secret Six. I think that could work. Josh and I have talked about this many times before. James Gunn likes the obscure characters, and I would not be surprised if whatever secret movie he's working on gets spun out of season 2 of Peacemaker, because that's what he's currently in development on. There's a character that was rumored to be in season 1 of Peacemaker, but however, those rumors were totally bogus. I could see him showing up in season 2 of Peacemaker, season 2 of Peacemaker, though. Oliver Queen's Green Arrow! I can absolutely see James Gunn doing a Green Arrow movie, or I don't know about an Arrow and Canary movie, but like make Arrow a straight up comedic character or just a really sassy type character.
Oh, you mean like what he's supposed to be? Got it, heard.
Yes. sassy boy.
Yeah, exactly.
But James Gunn also really likes the team dynamic. Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad, which, you know, Josh brought it up. James Gunn for a Teen Titans movie or just a Titans movie, I would not complain in the slightest. I've said J.J. Abrams would be a good Teen Titans guy for a while, but if we can't get J.J., and actually, honestly, at this point in their careers, I'd probably rather go with James Gunn than J.J. Abrams. But I can absolutely see a Titans movie. And he pulls from some really obscure picks of like, a James Gunn Teen Titans where they fight like Trigon or Brother Blood or something like that. Like a really deep cut there. I also could see him going the route of something I pitched when we did rebuilding the DCEU, our really long pitch episode, one of my favorites we've ever done, actually. I could see James Gunn doing a Harley and Ivy movie.
Especially because of the success of Harley.
And his already ongoing relationship with Margot Robbie, having worked with her on the Suicide Squad, so maybe Harley and Ivy. If I had to put a wager on it, though, I don't know why, but I'm the most confident in this one. James Gunn's Booster Gold movie.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, that makes the most sense, unfortunately, unless you're gonna go like, because he loves cast of characters, let's just have James Gunn do season 1 of Young Justice, but as a film. But yeah, like the ensemble movies I think really work for him as well.
ooh.
Yeah, what you got, buddy? What you got?
One more that just now came to my mind that's gonna make Josh very happy. James
Uh-huh.
Gunn likes the obscure characters.
Correct, as we've established.
Who says these obscure characters have to be from our time zone, though? What if James Gunn does the Legion of Superheroes?
Oh, interesting. I actually, yeah, because that kind of works on all levels. It's obscure. It's an ensemble like that. That could, yeah, I'd be down.
I've cracked
And
the code!
oh yeah, and that's actually why they can't cancel the Wonder Twins movie, is because they're like, no, James Gunn needs them.
Honestly,
Dude, if anybody's gonna tackle the Wonder Twins, it's gonna be James Gunn. Like,
and it would be
I don't think
great.
it honestly, they'd probably be the best characters of the entire film. But I'm not even gonna lie.
But
Yeah,
any
I
guesses
think
for you
James
with
has a lot going on, and I think there's so, because of his style, and because I think you and I are such fans of the Suicide Squad. I just, there's so much he can do, and I would love to see him tackle. Honestly, if I would love to see like a Hush from him, because I feel like doing that ensemble with all these different types of villains would really work with him as well. But we will see when we see.
Next up is, we were just going to talk about the posters, because they initially released posters for this movie, but then if you get posters, a trailer's never far behind, especially when you're talking about the Michael B. Jordan directed Creed 3. I keep forgetting, but the trailers make it blatantly obvious. They're like, directed by Michael B. Jordan. Y'all, I've been excited for Creed 3 just because I really like the first two.
Yeah.
Bro, so it's nice to know that people besides Josh and I have seen the movie Warrior, because Michael B. Jordan has too. Because Creed 3 is just Warrior, but I'm not complaining about that in the slightest. And also, before I hand it over to Josh, if I'm Adonis, run! Oh my God, Jonathan Majors is going to murder this man. Jonathan Majors looks like he ate Jonathan Majors. Oh my gosh. Like,
he's so big. It's so scary. Like, oh my gosh. It's one of those, like, the thought I had was like, wait, was that why in Loki they had him so like under all these robes? Because under all those robes is absolute like zero fat.
It's like King
body,
Boomy.
like big dude. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, so this trailer is absolutely banger. I love the soundtrack is fantastic. The new song or whatever for the trailer is fantastic. I think so
gorgeous
far the best
cinematography. Heather actually pointed that out first.
Majors is fantastic. It's crazy because you don't really see him like actually punch anybody. Like they show him throwing and people going, whatever, and then somebody's like, he's gonna kill someone, and then he like glares at the camera and you're like, yeah, and it's gonna be me, he's gonna kill me.
It's the same thing as Tom Hardy in Warrior, just going, dude, those are the eyes of a man.
Oh gosh, he's so. And I love the idea that while it is very close to Warrior, like it's very interesting for Adonis to have to explore. Okay, cool. So, I didn't know that I was, Creed's actual son, and so for a period of time there, like I did have to live on the streets. I did have to do some really shady stuff, just to survive. And there's nothing wrong with that, absolutely. But it's crazy that, like, Jonathan Majors' characters in the light of this trailer absolutely has every right to be mad at Adonis. Like, you left me behind, dog. Like, what in the world? So I'm just excited. Jonathan Majors looks great. Adonis looks great. I love him actually teaching his daughter in the trailer how to box. Like, that's cool. There's so much to love about this trailer. Honestly, if you can see this and not get hyped for Creed 3, dog, I don't even want to be your friend. Like, this is so cool.
The only thing that really kind of surprised me with this trailer was it's a 7-year time gap. Because I was like, it hasn't been 7 years. I think it was 2019 was the last movie.
Yeah.
So I think this will kind of follow the same trajectory as the Rocky movies. Shocker. Of if this is 7 years from now, this is 7 years from the previous one. I think Adonis might either be retired or close to it. So like,
Yeah.
here's my
It kind of appears that way anyway in the trailer.
Here's my way too early fan speculation theory out there.
Love it, love it, love it.
For a lot of the trailer, we see Michael B. Jordan in like a suit that kind of looks too big for him. And only at the very end do we see him like actually squaring up to fight Jonathan Majors' character. I think a la Rocky, Creed retires with the title. And so they vacate the title, and Majors and that other dude that we see in the trailer fight for the title. Because we see later in the trailer, Jonathan Majors has these two big titles. And so maybe he it goes to his head, or Majors calls out Creed, be like, hey, I'm the champ now. What you gonna do about it type of situation, or like ruin his life or try and ruin his public image or something like that, and brings Adonis out of retirement, because we're kind of getting to that point of just like, well, every Rocky movie's got that cliched coming out of retirement moment.
Yeah.
So we might be getting to that point, because the first two Creeds kind of dipped from enough of the Rocky movies, like 2 especially had a lot of Rocky 3 and Rocky 4 in it. So maybe now we get more of that from Rocky's perspective, shifting to Adonis in terms of like the tail end of your career.
Yeah. Because like there's 0 Rocky in this entire trailer, which
for the best.
Oddly, I was like, yeah, absolutely, get him out of here. Not okay. Hold on. But like at the same time, it's we've already had 2 movies of Adonis being like, oh, but he's gonna die on me, man. I don't know what to do. Like, we get he's old. He's gonna die.
Since when did Adonis sound like the Martian from Looney Tunes?
I don't know, man. It was the only like voice
Where's the
I could think of. I don't know, man.
So lastly, for our news, we've talked Marvel. Well, we've talked DC. Now we talk Marvel, as the speculation that was kind of going around for weeks was something that both Josh and I didn't actually believe was real, just because it just didn't seem feasible. And that is that Harrison Ford has now joined the MCU. And my immediate thought is, so how much money did you have to back into his backyard with a dump truck and just go, join this massive franchise? We know massive franchises are just your favorite. Did we mention you get to do a press tour once every couple of years? We know you love those. Those are your favorite, you grumpy old man. But okay, in all seriousness,
he's got to put his grandkids through college, so he's got to get some more money.
Grandkids at 3. He's going.
Jeez,
he's 74 now. In all seriousness, Harrison Ford has been cast to replace William Hurt's Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU. So I'm going, the Red Hulk is still on the table for the Thunderbolts movie. Maybe the reason why we didn't get that in the artwork is they didn't have the person cast yet for D23, which I'm going, once again, we bring up the disappointing D23 of this year.
Yep.
But yeah, I genuinely didn't believe the rumors when this has been floating around for a while. I didn't believe it because it's the running joke that Harrison Ford and Bruce Willis are the 2 grumpy old men in Hollywood that you can't really ask to do anything anymore. They're just tired of their own franchises. So the fact that Harrison Ford is jumping into a big franchise after he's left not 1 but 2, because I'm assuming Indiana Jones next year is his final indie movie. Yeah. But he'll do other indie movies. Yeah.
All right, guys. That's it. I'm quitting the podcast.
I wouldn't be surprised if Harrison Ford did this, because he knows it's going to be the easiest payday in the world, because Red Hulk might be there more than Thunderbolt Ross will be.
Yes. I agree. No, I completely agree. It'll be, and because I think a big part of it is unfortunately, Thunderbolt Ross has to be there because you can't call it the Thunderbolts and he not be there. So excuse me. It definitely is just one of those situations where they had to recast, and I mean, given the options, I think Harrison Ford's probably your best bet. I agree, though. Like, dog, they had to be like, they approached him on the set of Indy and was like,
you don't have to do any more Star Wars anything.
But have you thought about Marvel?
Better yet, we'll even teach you how to land a plane. How does that sound, young man?
Exactly. Like, yeah, we'll send you to actual flight school.
We got Tom Cruise to teach you in everything. Tom knows how to take off and land.
But it's there's the big pull of the film, right? Is that Harrison Ford is actually flying the plane, and then it comes out that like the crew was terrified because he always had trouble landing.
It's nice to know that in one of his most famous movies, Air Force One, when he tells Gary Oldman, "Get off my plane," the great thing is he's not actually talking to Gary Oldman. He's talking to his landing gear. This is
God.
Harrison Ford's the best. Why, like, we're just bagging on Harrison Ford's lack of flying ability,
which is like, because being able to fly a plane is kind of a big deal, and I'm almost like sure that there was like a failure in the landing gear. Was nowhere near his fault, like blah blah blah. But
this has happened a few times.
Yeah, like so, like every plane breaks that you use. Like, are you just not checking them before you fly? Because I'm pretty sure pre-flight inspections are a thing, but whatever.
So Thunderbolt Ross is confirmed to be in Captain America 4, The New World Order, or just Captain America, The New World Order, and the Thunderbolts, obviously. I still have question marks as to the significance of the Thunderbolts movie, because Kevin Feige made a point to be like, yeah, the final movie of Phase 5 is the Thunderbolts. I'm going, or why? So? Like, what is the significance?
Nathan, what I don't think you're understanding is what the public, when they hear the Thunderbolts, they think multiverse. They think big picture. They think galaxy ending threats. Yeah, no, I have no idea. That doesn't make sense at all.
But I get why he would show up in Captain America, though, because we know Tim Blake Nelson from The Incredible Hulk, aka the leader, will be the main villain for that Captain America movie, which still kind of confuses me, but we'll wait to see how it plays out, even if I think it's a weird choice. Harrison Ford is a great actor. Even when he's not trying, I'm still entertained by him just because of how much he does not care when he does not want to be there, and it's very entertaining how grumpy of an old man he is at times. Harrison Ford's still a phenomenal actor. Rest in peace, William Hurt, and I hope Harrison Ford takes it seriously because he knows he's stepping in for an important character that has passed away in real life. So I think he would treat it with that level of respect and reverence. Also, like, not like he hasn't played a general before for something, aka Ender's Game, for the few of you that remember that movie.
Hey, that's a fun movie. It's a good popcorn flick. I definitely I have no doubt that he'll kill it because, I mean, literally even bring half the charisma that he has in Blade Runner, what is it, 2049?
Yes.
You got
it right this time.
I did. It's one of my favorite movies, and I always forget how to
2089, 2099, 3189.
But yeah, I like any half of the charisma that he has in that film for this, I think will be okay.
As always, this episode is sponsored by TeePublic, your one-stop shop for all things Uncharted Media merch, as Josh is now sampling one of our new hoodies.
Hey!
You can get hoodies as it's getting colder out. You can get hoodies, t-shirts, stickers, magnets, notepads, whatever you want with the Uncharted Media logo or other fantastic designs we've got. Also, thanks for helping us get to over 700 subscribers. We're not going to rest on our laurels. Now, we're making the march to 1,000 subscribers. It's going to be a while, but let's do this together, people. We'll think of something stupid to do together once we get to 1,000 subscribers. But I mean,
I love because we do nothing but take this seriously, obviously.
Yeah, because we can think of something stupider than Dark Jar Jar. But if you haven't already subscribed to whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, YouTube, and help us get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's the next big goal. Screw 800 and 900. We'll just breeze right past that. On to 1,000. Now, on to the not so spoopy. So once again, we're in the month of spookiness, the best time of the year. Suck it, Christmas. But like sometimes we like scary, but other
Yeah.
times we're watching something that's not scary, and we still get scared nonetheless. Because, kids' movies can be traumatizing, other movies can be traumatizing, other movies can have some traumatizing stuff that just kind of comes out of nowhere. So this week we're going to talk about the scariest moments from non-horror movies. So anything that's not a horror movie is fair game, and it has to be a movie, so nothing from TV or anything. Kids' movies are fair game. Rom-coms are fair game. I don't have any rom-coms, but if there were, it'd be fair game. Josh is going, did I put the proposal on here?
I'm counting how many kids movies are on here.
Same. Kids movies will mess you up.
No, they're horrifying, dog. Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm gonna start off nice and strong. And only because I actually went back and revisited this movie a couple years ago, just to be like, it wasn't actually that scary. Turns out it was. So there's a very specific scene in a small movie, and maybe you've heard of it, called The Brave Little Toaster.
One of
There
my
is
favorite
a
movies as a
nightmare.
kid.
Yeah, honestly, it's a fantastic film. Love it. One of the most so the main character, he's a brave little toaster. As
Wow.
the name would, I know it's a very complicated film. He has a nightmare towards the end, like middle to the end of the film, that involves them being chased by a giant clown, and it is genuinely horrifying for no reason. I understand it's a nightmare, but the animators saw the notes for the scenes that they had to draw, and it said nightmare scene involving clown that's going to spray them down and short them out. And the animators are like, got it, all right, let's make this thing feel like it could kill children, all right, let's go. And like it is, there's flames as the backdrops, and I mean it's crazy because it is literally built into this section of the movie where they're at like I want to say like a thrift store or like a secondhand store, and like all of the very Toy Story-esque, all of the other appliances are like kind of horrible to that. It's just like it's overall like that, like 10 15 20 minutes of the film is it does not belong in a children's movie whatsoever.
So speaking of a children's one, I don't actually know if as a kid I ever finished this movie. I just knew about this one scene and one scene in particular that traumatized a whole generation of kids. We'll talk about Roald Dahl a few times today, but I'll talk about first the one that I don't think Josh is expecting me to talk about first, because I'll save the other one for later. Any kid that grew up in the 90s is very familiar with a movie called The Witches.
I actually don't think I've ever seen this film. I know. Okay, hold on. I know what it is, and I know what scene you're about to talk about, but I don't think I've ever actually seen the film.
I don't believe I've ever seen the movie either, because the one scene that I did see was this scene, and I was like, I'm good, and I will never sleep again. So basically, this kid, like, I'm trying to remember the basic premise, but it's like there's a whole bunch of like nannies or women that are like looking after people, and this kid suspects that there's something up with them. And so, sure enough, they're witches, but they're not like your.
Sure enough, they're witches.
But they're not like your like attractive discount Spirit Halloween type witches, or even like mildly scary Horror Nights ones. No, these are like uber grotesque, like truly disturbing, like peeling off their own skin masks that they've got. No. Roald Dahl.
That sounds like a great time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Roald Dahl, man, has some weird imagery. But for anybody that grew up, actually, now that I think about it, I've got 3 Roald Dahl things to talk about, because Roald Dahl has a thing for traumatizing children. I don't know what his shtick is, but The Witch
it's just traumatizing children.
I never even bothered with the new one that was on HBO Max. They're just like, check out on HBO Max, Witches, never goes. No one was asking for that. Try as you may, Anne Hathaway. That's nice and everything, but you're not gonna top this one.
I've heard it's still, that scene is still scary, but because I think any scene with somebody tearing apparently I'm stuttering today, peeling their skin off is going to be terrifying, but that's just me.
So sticking with the Roald Dahl train,
Yeah.
or Roald Dahl boat. Another one, but not
I'm gonna
this one.
smack my head into my monitor. Oh my gosh.
Not this one. Not this movie yet. There's another Roald Dahl one.
Oh, well, why? Because it's too obvious.
Oh, we'll talk about this one because, yeah, it's very obvious. But there's another Roald Dahl one involving food that a whole generation was traumatized by chocolate cake in Matilda.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, screw that. No, 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 no. I love how that movie was so crazy, and that like they made a like out of context, one of the most delicious looking chocolate cakes ever. Also have this aura of like just like evil and like, oh god.
So, Josh, for context, what am I talking about with this chocolate cake?
Okay, so you're gonna have to fill in a lot because I have not seen Matilda in so long. I have a vivid memory though of this kid having to like force feed himself an entire chocolate cake, and I also have like a weird memory from that movie of them putting Matilda in like a box of nails as well, so that to stand there and not get hurt. But that might have been some other version of Matilda. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Matilda too, but yeah, basically this kid's just like, I
There's a
can eat this
Matilda
whole
too.
cake.
Sorry.
I mean, that's
No,
another
there's
one of
not.
those like
There's
Beetlejuice
not.
2 of people always making up fake posters saying, see, I made a poster. That means it's happening, guys. No. But yeah, so Matilda, there's some kid that's just like, I could eat this whole cake. And so you get this like evil, almost like Nazi instructor that's just like, oh, you think you can eat the cake? Eat the whole thing. Oh, okay. You must eat the whole thing. And at first you're just like, yeah, this kid can do it. Just like that kid that ate all the pies in that Arthur episode against Buster in the eating competition. Yes, I'm bringing that reference to the table.
What a pull.
Remember, kids, in an eating competition, it's about pacing yourself, not eating all at once. That's what Arthur taught me. But this kid's just like, I can eat cake. But about halfway through, like a normal human being, he's just like, all right, I can't eat anymore. And the instructor's like, no, you will eat the entire cake. And you're just going, no, thank you. It's so uncomfortable watching a child being tortured more than anything else. Like, it's an adult. Yeah. Poor life choices. You are what you are. That's so mean. Wow.
But like that's definitely like that brings memories of what that Brad Pitt movie 7 with Gluttony in the beginning, where he's like force fed himself all that spaghetti, I think it is, I don't remember, but yeah, excuse me, yeah, that's seeing a child for like being tortured is literally the worst. I say that, but like also like the big cathartic like release that I had for Game of Thrones was when Joffrey died, and I was like, all right, cool, I don't need anything else from the show, bye. So
I still remember that vividly too.
Yeah, same. I was like, oh, and like they tried to be like, guys, don't you want to know who did it? And I was like, no, honestly, I mean,
no, we don't care. He's dead.
The only reason I would want to know is so I can give them I walk up to them, shake their hand.
I'm gonna come and shake your hand.
So I'll kind of stick with the children's movie thing we've got going on here. So The Hunchback of Notre Dame is a fantastic movie. I think there are many things in this film that could be considered very horror-esque, but I think the things that come closest are both of Frollo's songs. Definitely the second one where he talks about like the fires of lust and all that, but it is the opening song where he sings about like how, you know, this lady's a sinner, she's a gypsy, so she must die, and you know what, I'm just gonna casually murder this baby too while I'm at it because it's so grotesque looking. God, Frollo, all babies look gross. Don't judge that. But I don't mean that. But still,
yeah. What was it you said? Where were you this past weekend?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, said your babies, I'm sure, is beautiful. Even though babies do look like aliens.
Potatoes.
Big potato aliens. if you burned a potato alien, would he be a hash brown? Sorry.
Or a
But yes,
spuddy.
Frollo's songs in Hunchback of Notre Dame are so like, this is a child. I mean, first of all, you messed up by making a film about the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is a horrifying story in of it. On its own. But then you were like, yes, but we're gonna keep the part about the the evil guy like singing about how he wants to have sex with the gypsy, but that's so wrong. The song is so, even as an adult, it makes me so uncomfortable, and I just don't understand how you can watch it and be like, yes, that is the bad guy, and then that's a totally okay thing that he's talking about, like,
Let's stay on the kids movie train,
choo choo,
but a little more lighthearted with zombies, because that's a little more lighthearted than an evil Frollo.
All right, we're talking about scary scenes in kids movies. Let's keep it lighthearted here.
Let's talk about zombies, but in the most iconic line from the whole movie. Hey, the zombies are the good guys! Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. God, this movie also traumatized me as a kid. Not nearly as much as a movie that we'll talk about much later, that we've already talked about on podcast in another episode. But yeah, we're going to bring that one back. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Even as a kid, I knew something was special about this one because you could tell by like the color palette. Like this was like, oh, it's darker. Like overall as a color palette, but also it just looks like it has a bigger budget. That, and I think it was Scooby-Doo and Witch's Ghost, like either the year before or the year after with Tim Curry. That was a great movie. Almost all of Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, not Witch's Ghost, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island could be on here. But the moment in particular that I was just scarred forever as a small child was they run over a zombie with the mystery machine, and Fred's just like, yeah, we got one. No, you committed homicide. Is it though? If it's a zombie,
is it homicide? They're already dead. Like, it's just
but whatever.
Or is that
they get the zombie
like a double homicide.
Yes.
Automatic double homicide.
Nearly had the Nick. He can't die. He's already dead.
Dead.
But Fred goes
looks
to
at the
take off.
basilisk, frozen.
He saw him through. Get sidetracked. But
yeah,
Fred,
God, yeah, that's a plot hole right there. I hate that one.
Fred is trying to take off the mask of this zombie. He's like, it's a really good mask. Pulls a little too hard and rips the zombie's head off. It is not a man in a costume. It is literally a formerly living, breathing zombie that Fred just ripped the head off of. And as a child who had seen almost everything Scooby-Doo up until this point and had been told repeatedly, the only evil in this world are people in masks that are trying to hurt you. Magic and dark things are not real. Magic is not real. But to have all of a sudden an actual living, breathing zombie and seeing its head get just ripped off in a kid's movie, I'm going, nope. I'm good. I'll come back to this in 10 to 15 years. We're good. Yeah. We're good. I'll watch Cyber Chase instead.
I have a vivid memory of, I think it was just like a scene. It's towards the beginning of the film where they get stuck in like a hole or something, and like the zombies are starting to come out of the walls of the hole. Or something. Yeah. I remember seeing that and going, I'm gonna watch Dragon Ball instead. Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Or when Scooby and Shaggy finally realize what's happening, so they're running away and they go back to the ferry to Jacques the fairy guy, and they're just like, oh thank God, everything is turning bad, everyone's turning into werewolves and zombies, and then Jacques like turns into a werewolf and almost like eats them alive. I'm going, this is a kids movie, right?
Because so technically, doesn't that
themselves.
Count as a horror film then? Technically,
see, I would not. I would consider it a traumatizing movie for kids for sure. But at its heart, it's still trying to be a kids family friendly movie, not trying to be a horror movie. Why are you being weird? Pictures.
That's because pictures are always weird. So it's the
Josh's face just wants to be on camera doubly today. Apparently,
I want to be everywhere, dog.
I am everywhere.
That I will say there, and doing some research for this, just because my brain has not been working the past couple of days with anything that's not work related.
Josh has gotten back into wrestling.
Yeah, totally. Lots of par for the course over here. But like, I remember I'm looking at some of these lists that people have put together. I swear to you, someone was like, "There's lots of scary stuff in Alien." I was like, "Yeah,
That's a
because
horror
that's a
movie.
horror movie, you dummy! What?
But
Shut up!
sci-fi can't be horror. There's two
That's
separate
not horror.
categories.
Sci-fi horror. Anyway, um, buddy. All right, keeping on this train. I'm going to talk about this because you have never seen this film and let alone have no idea what it is.
Oh, is it the
I
one you told
know
me about?
because yeah, Rock-a-Doodle is about a rooster. It's basically the story of Elvis, but with a rooster, and thrown a little bit of like American Tail flavoring.
So does he die on the toilet?
No, but there is a psychotic owl manager who always has like cat eyes for some reason. Like, I understand that owls do not have like the little like the vertical slits for eyes. But he constantly has them whenever he turns around. Then there's a very particular scene in which there's so much more I'd have to explain for this to make sense. But he opens his mouth and ghost hands come out of his mouth and grips a child raccoon and chokes him to death in the climax of this film. First of all, horrifying that you would open your mouth and ghost like literally. So I'll send you the clip later because
I've seen Halloween 3. I've seen live snakes coming out of a child's mouth. We're good.
But like, this is animated, dog. This should not happen in a kid's. But like,
in a movie called again, Rock-a-Doodle.
Rock-a-Doodle. But like, this is made by like the same guys that did American Tail and like All Dogs Go to Heaven, which honestly,
not immune to being terrifying either.
Yeah. All Dogs Go to Heaven should like most of the film should be on this list. Gosh, that is, but it's also like one of my favorite movies growing up. Mostly because it was like 1 out of 10 that we had. But next to all the VeggieTales movies.
I was about to say, did you burn through your Jonah DVD?
No. It was Quest for Camelot.
Which also, I'm glad you brought that up. Quest for Camelot is on here too, baby. Because I remember leaving the theater in Quest for Camelot being so terrified. Actually, it's
which part?
It's so the curious. Scene where they're dumping the soldiers in the barrel to turn them.
Gosh, that thing is so scary. So for context, the main baddie Rupert,
who is terrifying, by the way.
There's no reason for him to be that scary, dog. Especially towards the end of the film when he actually gets the sword on his hand and it's just sitting there rotating. Terrifying. He's also balding, which is I don't know what
he's a ginger. He's compensating.
But genuinely, so he takes over our main hero's Kaylee's house and uses their well with a couple drops of a potion that he got from a witch somewhere, which is quite literally the lyric. Which I don't know why I remember that. I can hear him in my head. It's so good. It's such a good song. That's the problem. It's a terrifying scene with a fantastic, catchy song. But he's basically taking all these mercenaries that he in his crew and throwing them into this pit of magical goop with like a weapon or something that turns them into this freak of nature like metal soldier. It's hilarious. Because
and terrifying.
Absolutely. I say hilarious because the one I remember vividly is the guy that gets thrown in there with a fork. And so like his hand just shoots forks is the only thing that happens, which is hilarious. But yeah, there's a guy that gets thrown in there with two like chain maces and his arms become chain maces. It's horrifying. But yeah, no, so scary. And it's only like negated towards the end of the film when their quote unquote big scary griffin comes in who talks like this. Yes, man.
Yeah. The griffin does have a terrifying design, but yeah.
It does. Like literally the whole film is just like this like giant cat that talks like this, master. I'm so sorry, man. Oh, I'm sorry, master. So like what? This giant beast should not sound like a parrot. Sorry. Anyway, go for it.
Quest for Camelot, I think, could be classified as a fantasy movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the guy with Carrie Elwes more or less being the same character as Book of Eli, basically.
Yeah.
But another fantasy movie, arguably one of the greatest fantasy movies of all time, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But when I say terrifying Lord of the Rings, you don't think Sauron, you don't think orcs, you don't think cave trolls, you think crackhead Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, yes, I will say the first time I saw that as a kid, I was like, whoa, 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 what is this? I mean, then again, it like later when the trolls come in, I was like, oh god, that's terrifying. Yeah, but like crackhead Bilbo Baggins,
There's
give me
no
my
way
ring.
else to describe it.
Yeah. Oh, and it's like now rewatching it, it's like it's obviously like CGI and it kind of takes away a little bit of it. But like at the same time, like I vividly remember seeing that as a kid and going, no, I'm good.
Because
I'm good.
at least
Thank you.
with most, I can speak. I'm Mike Tyson.
With most,
at least with most scares, there's some form of a build-up. Even in like kid-friendly scares, there's some form of build-up. There is no build-up to this. It's just, oh, hi, I'm talking to my Uncle Bilbo. He's totally normal. Oh my god! And then it just goes back to normal just as quickly as he became this weird gremlin-looking thing. I'm just, crackhead uncle? Are you okay? Are you in there? Maybe you shouldn't live to be the triple digits. You ever think about that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think I runner up, I guess, would be seeing the slow transformation of Golem. The probably in Fellowship, when they meet Galadriel and she's like, I will be the queen, both dark and beautiful.
All like, will worship me and despair.
Which, nah, spoilers, never mind. But yeah, it's fantastic. Like, I agree, like super like unnecessarily scary, but like needed at the same time.
How many more you got? I got 5.
1, 2, 3. I got 5 as well.
Yeah, we're good at this.
Yeah, I mean, we better be for almost 200 episodes.
Here's what happens is Josh and I only have one brain and we just kind of share it via FedEx every couple days. It just kind of goes back and forth.
No.
That explains Josh's lapses in memory from time to time.
Yeah. It's UPS, and so sometimes one of us isn't home to sign for it, so it just gets sent back.
I believe it. I believe it.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna go with one that absolutely terrified me as a kid. So Jurassic Park is it's a great film, good family film, right? I could not finish the movie from the time until I was like, geez, I want to say 15, 16. For whatever reason, the first time I watched it, I was like 8. I could not get past the scene where she's going to go turn on the power and she can't find Samuel Jackson's character. For whatever reason, my little child brain was absolutely scared of that scene. And to be fair, it's terrifying. And like the scene where like the hand comes down on her shoulder and she's like, oh, thank God. Oh no, it's just the hand. Like that is absolutely terrifying.
It's the same hand Mace Windu lost.
That's a connection I did not like. My brain didn't. Hey, see, this is proof that we share a brain. But no, yeah, like as a kid, could not get past that scene, which is hilarious that I can see a giant T-Rex eat a guy in a toilet, but not see a disembodied hand.
Well, we know why. Because no crap. That was not even remotely my best. I apologize on behalf of everything.
That was a really crappy joke.
But I'll make up for it for this incredible segue.
Got it.
Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg. I have a Steven Spielberg movie that's often regarded as one of the most child-friendly and joyous, wonderful movie that the critics hated for some reason. Robin Williams' Hook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wait, the critics hated that film? It was so
the critics hate
super good.
Hook. The critics hate Hook, to which I just go, suck it, you have no taste, critics. But I will say...
That's one of the best movies ever.
One of the best soundtracks, too. But, no, the scene I'm thinking of for Hook, the movie is not necessarily scary at all. It's cheesy, it's campy, it's got wonderful heart. Well, no, there's one scene in particular, and all I have to say is 2 words. Boo box.
I
Josh forgets what the boo box
No.
is? Did you lie to
I
Captain Hook? I did. You know what that means. The boo box. Not the boo box! It's Glenn Close getting shoved into that little box with live scorpions and then getting thrown over the side of the ship.
Oh, yes. Wow. Okay. Apparently my brain was like, nah, we remember so many things about that film. That is not one of them.
Your brain's expected to come in the next day or two.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. My bad. I'll be sure to be home. Hey, as long as it gets here Thursday, I'll be home to get it.
With the boo box, one, I just think it's funny that it's Glenn Close, but I remember as a kid watching this, like, really a lighthearted movie, you know, where a kid gets stabbed in the chest. A really lighthearted and fun movie, and all of a sudden, no, you're gonna get thrown alive into this box with a bunch of live scorpions, and then we're gonna throw you overboard. Okay, that's terrifying. And because Glenn Close does not know how to half speed any form of acting, she is just going balls to the wall in this, of like her screams of agony and terror. I'm just going, I think you might have put a better performance in this than you actually did in Doubt, in which case I think you got nominated for that, but I'm more terrified here than in Doubt. It's just like,
this is so
eh.
weird. Sorry. So I just finished this I promise this connected. I just finished the season 1 of that Dungeons and Daddies podcast. And there's a character named Glenn Close. He's a rock and roll bard. But yeah, like I was just like, it's not that Glenn Close. It's not that a Glenn Close.
I swear our podcast after 200 episodes is just a revolving door of 10 references.
I mean, yeah, most of our comedy is.
Rule of thirds, everyone. Repeat the same thing. Eventually, it'll be funny.
That's yep. That's why I always make my mistakes in threes. So let's talk about I really to my memory, probably my first actual brush with like horror themes and like kind of the horror imagery as well. So for most people, you you went to the library, you picked out some videos, right? This was little Josh's existence for a while. This is also how I snuck in the 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies.
Heck
um
yeah.
I was given at the ripe old age of 10 a library card, and I was told, hey, by the way,
Having
anything
fun isn't hard when you've got a
You
library
got a
card.
library card. Thank you, Arthur. But
Bringing it back, man.
any of the VHSs, yes, that's right, I said VHSs, that were under PG-13, I could check them out without parental guidance. So of course, I grabbed Fantasia and was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be fantastic! I can't wait." And then, I don't know, the night of Bald Mountain happened, and I was absolutely terrified as a child sitting on that couch. I'd be like, "What is it?" Like both terrified, but also like mystified and like so intrigued, but also like kind of scared.
So the question is then for Josh,
Yeah.
what is the name of the creature on top of the mountain?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Because its name is Chernabog, and I've known that for a lot of years. There's a good Disney series called Kingdom Keepers where he's like one of the main villains. But it's funny you bring up Night on Bald Mountain. So I help in my church's youth group, like with the teens, and every week we ask them trivia questions. And I specifically for this month did Halloween related questions, and I asked them who's the name of the villain on top of Bald Mountain in Fantasia, and no one knew. But I'm going, foreshadowing. There's a glitch in the matrix somehow. It's all coming together, man. Illuminati.
It's just no. It's just.
It's the brain thing, man. It's the brain.
We're going back to the same joke. We got one joke this podcast.
We've only got one joke. How to Train Your Dragon, Iron Giant.
Oh, just watch out for that Kung Fu Panda. But yes, Night on Bald Mountain. For those that don't know, honestly, I'm probably on YouTube. Look it up. Fantastic, beautiful imagery, beautiful music. But as a little 10-year-old kid, was definitely like, what is what am I watching? What is this? This is like what is Pilgrim's Progress, which is also why was
Wow.
that given to
What a
children to watch?
reference. Holy.
Oh man.
Wow, Josh, tell us
I
you were homeschooled without telling us you were homeschooled.
I was shown at the age of 6 Pilgrim's Progress, man. Like that was not okay. And they were like, "Here, let's show this kid an imagery like that deals with hell and demons and stuff like that." There's no way he'll like scary movies growing up. No way.
So I
Yeah,
think
it's
Night on Bald Mountain doesn't have some form of literary origin, I believe.
I want to say yes.
Either
but,
way, my next one has some literary origin to it.
Boo! You
Ish.
didn't care.
No, I don't. I never care about anything. See, I don't. This doesn't have literary origins, and that's kind of the reason why I both like and severely hate this movie. Young Sherlock Holmes, directed by Chris Columbus, who did Home Alone and the first 2 Harry Potter movies. As a Sherlock Holmes fan, I hate this movie so much. But as a movie fan, it's fine. It's whatever. It's harmless fun.
It's a thing that happens.
It's a
fine.
thing. But God, does it not care about canon? But because again, it's not nearly as bad as the Russell Crowe Robin Hood situation, but it gets close at times. But it's a kids movie. I'll give it a pass on that.
But we'll allow it.
The difference is there's a scene in this that happens a couple times that you're going, how is this in a children's Sherlock Holmes story? So basically, the premise of the story is Holmes and Watson meet in a boarding school and develop a friendship or whatever, and some weird things start happening at the school, and like some people go disappearing. Well, apparently the reason people go disappearing is because they're being sacrificed by an old Egyptian cult, and so these people are being mummified alive and then put in a coffin while still alive, and then a fountain of scalding hot water comes and fills up the tomb, and I'm going, what?
Yo! That's not okay. That's like first sacrifice of Temple of Doom. Like,
oh no, it's like Temple of Doom levels of like building up the anticipation of like chants, like people wearing Anubis heads around this tomb, and this big thing of scalding hot water, and you hear kids screaming it within the mummy of them going,
"Get out!"
Why is this thing? Also, another reason I hated this movie, the main villain of like this cult leader, this like ancient Egyptian evil cult that they, for some reason, have an actual full-size pyramid underground a museum somewhere. But Sherlock defeats this guy. A post-credit scene, back when they didn't really have post-credit scenes, is this guy survived, signs into a hotel with the name James Moriarty. I'm going,
boo.
That age gap does not work. Holmes and Moriarty did not know each other. Oh, young Sherlock Holmes is a thing that exists in my brain at all times going, it's like an itch, just can't scratch. It's just like, let me fix it. But you can't, because it was before your time, before you clearly had sway in the world of Hollywood. But that one scene,
clearly.
It's funny. My mom and dad actually really like young Sherlock Holmes. My mom loves young Sherlock Holmes. But whenever that scene comes on, she leaves and will come back. One, she doesn't like child torture, which I totally get. But two, it's too dark for her to watch. It is a messed up scene. Like, they do it, I think, at least twice before, like, they have to save somebody for the third one, so they actually have to get involved. It is basically the Kali Ma scene from Temple of Doom where they rip the guy's heart out. It's like,
God,
it does not fit for the rest of this movie at all.
Jeez. Okay, so that actually segues me pretty well. So I am not going to bring up Temple of Doom, because Temple of Doom is basically a horror movie that happens to be involving Indy. What I am going to talk about, however, is my first Indiana Jones movie that I ever saw in my life, which is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So you mean the first Indiana Jones?
Okay, yeah, but like, leave me alone, all right? Leave me alone, all right? I don't. Okay. I don't care about Indy so much. Okay, it's a thing for me.
So after the 200th episode, we'll be hoping open auditions for the new co.
Rude. Oh man. Hey, you kept me around when I was recording in a car. All right. I like
that is true.
Like I don't know what it would take for you to fire me, but
That's
but
true. Maybe 4 or 5 more
anyway,
concussions.
I hope I honestly I think 2 more would kill me. But anyway, um, Raiders of the Lost Ark is obviously the Indiana Jones story about him finding the Lost Ark. Well, I know, shocker. Uh, whoa, I didn't see that coming. It is for anybody who's seen the film, you know exactly what scene I'm going for. Eventually, towards the end of the film, they find the Ark, and the Nazis, who are, I guess, are always the villains in Indiana Jones movies,
It's
apparently.
supposedly they're villains again.
Which is okay. I mean, it's one of those, like, if Nazis had stopped existing, they would make sense for us to keep using them. But since they're still around, maybe that's too political. But anyway, so they open up the Ark, and Indy and the girl that he's with close
Marion?
their close their eyes and are not affected by the curse. The curse being, it literally melts these people's faces off. Literally.
It's too
And
metal.
like, it is very metal. Excuse me. But like, seriously, it's all practical. It's all like just the melting of the face. It is horrifying. And like, I understand, like, this is a kind of like an adult like adventure film, something that they lean hard into in the Temple of Doom. But like, at the same time, it's like, this does not, what is this? Hold on, no, no.
That's one of those scenes that like got so heavily edited by the MPAA
Yeah.
of going, that's why there's that random fire effect, because they're like, you
Yeah.
can't show a head blowing up. Yeah, so I remember that scene actually as at a really young age too, because I remember before we moved to Colorado back in, I think it was 2004, I remember my dad was downstairs watching something, and it was, now that I'm older, I realized he was watching Raiders of the Lost Ark right around that scene. And I see part of that, and I'm going, nope, going upstairs to mom, going, let's not. And I was trying to describe the scene to her, and she's like, I have no idea what he's watching. So I'm like, looking back, she probably knows what he was watching. Just, yeah, that scene
He
will
probably
mess you
got
up.
yelled at later.
I was not sitting with him. I was like passing through. It's like, nope.
Bye.
Alrighty. These last 3, only 2 of them have really stuck with me, but one of them is legendary. When I finally saw, I think I saw this for the first time last year, maybe, when I was going through and determined I'm going to watch all the Superman movies, even the bad ones, including Superman 3. You know where I'm going with this, Josh?
I know of the scene. I just didn't put it on here because I've never seen this scene, actually.
Holy crap. So Superman 3 is weird. It's a Richard Pryor movie featuring cameos of Superman. It's
Okay.
It's
I'm
Richard
done.
Pryor basically taking like the pennies from everyone's paychecks and adding them to his paycheck. It's weird. It's stupid. But
I mean, it makes sense, man. You take the pennies off 3 billion people's paychecks. I mean, you're gonna get $3 billion, right? That's how that works.
Josh has never been good at math. That's
No, I'm not. That's yeah.
That's a recorded fact that's in the 200th episode. We already know that for a fact. But no. So Richard Pryor teams up with Discount Lex Luthor, because I'm calling him Discount Lex Luthor because it's just Lex Luthor, but Gene Hackman didn't want to come back for the third one. So Discount Lex and his, I believe, sister are like the 2 evil characters of this movie. And so at some point in the final fight, Superman's coming in to save the day, as he does, and the sister somehow gets like thrown into this like electrical circuit or grid or whatever, and becomes a human robot cyborg hybrid creature, because they clearly didn't have the budget for Brainiac back then.
Of course.
But with terrifying practical effects and the most dead-eyed, terrifying expression you will ever see in this movie, that's making Richard Pryor jokes and has a drunk Superman fighting with Christopher Reeves, because Superman and Clark Kent have split personalities apparently, and they fight each other. You get this scene that belongs to something completely different. The terrifying practical effects. The eyes will haunt your nightmares. Superman 3 is not good, but it is known for this one scene of children everywhere crapping their pants, going, "What just happened?" And then you get Superman 4 with Nuclear Man saying, "I will hurt people." And I'm going, oh, that's a horror
I'm
of
sure
a movie.
you will, buddy. I'm sure you will.
But then Zack Snyder would use that exact same method of creating Nuclear Man to create Doomsday, and then would pretend that he didn't.
So anyway, I don't want to talk about Doomsday. I hate
But the
that
real
whole
Doomsday's
process.
still out there.
No, he's not. Shut
According
up.
to Snyder.
Shut up. So let's go with I only got 2 more, right? So
Same.
Look at that. I'm gonna go with a scene that it's one of those like the movie is very tense. There's a lot going on, kind of, but also not. It is the one event in this film that kind of puts it on the track that that they build and from the trailer. However, the moment that the bear attack happens in The Revenant is I want to say breathtaking, but not in the good way. It's not like not like, oh my gosh, look at this landscape of Yellowstone, which is also in the film. It's fantastic. But it's not like, oh wow, look at this landscape. It's absolutely breathtaking. It's, oh, look at this man literally be thrown around like a rag doll by a bear. And oh, it's over. It's walking away. Oh, I think we're okay. Oh no, he's coming back. Oh, he's coming back. It is literally some of the most tense, terrifying, like I think it goes on for like 2 or 3 minutes of that film, to the point of like it happens like in the first 30 or 40 minutes, something like that. I was probably like way overshooting, but whatever. So to the point, it's like, okay, so what's the movie going to be after this? Because he's obviously dead. There's no way he's not dead. It seriously like took my breath away when I watched it. It's so terrifying to me. It's not and The Revenant is not a horror movie. I don't know what I would classify that as. Maybe more like a
Revenge
thriller. Yeah, maybe. So I mean, it definitely rides that line when it comes to like horror-esque themes. But golly, watching a grown man be like just thrown around by a bear is enough to keep me away from bears for the rest of my life.
Oh, so you're Christopher Walken then?
Another
one of the 10. And you gotta think,
yeah. Anytime you bring up country bears, I just want to like throw myself into a pool.
Yeah, and Leonardo DiCaprio is such a method actor that he probably actually was attacked by a bear for this movie. That's probably a real bear that they hired for this film.
I actually need to look into it, but like there was like some like crazy stuff that they did to pull the shots off.
Oh yeah, because there's like no external lighting, right? It's like all natural lighting.
Yes, so, which the movie definitely suffers from.
As I mentioned earlier, we have 3 Roald Dahl movies. I mentioned 2 of them. Now, time for an encore, people.
No.
Is it raining? Is it pouring? Is a hurricane a blowing? Not a speck of light is showing, so the danger must be growing. But the rowers, they keep on rowing. They certainly are showing any signs that they're slowing. I definitely botched it, I think, this time around. I didn't know it as well. But the tunnel scene in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is one of those just like, it's so terrifying, but also so out of left field to the point that when you watch Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory on ABC Family or whatever it's called nowadays, like the once a month that they show it, they just straight up cut it out and you don't miss anything at all. Nothing is missed from this movie, but you get, millipede or centipedes crawling across somebody's face, a chicken getting decapitated, Willy Wonka just losing his ever-loving mind because the LSD set in, and the Oompa Loompas are just going, there's more in that river than you first thought, isn't there? Like, this is like an infamous scene of people just going, yeah, it's a great movie, but
Yeah.
what is that?
Yeah. It's one of those like, why is this happening? What is this? To the point like that I think like the Tim Burton one, like they still have a boat scene, but they use it as like an exposition dump more than anything else. But gosh, this film was that one specific scene is terrifying. It's kind of up there with like when you see when you see Willy Wonka for the first time, the Tim Burton one, and all of the the puppets are like melting behind him. I'm good, thank you though. But like, yeah, the tunnel scene, infamous, terrifying. It does not belong in this film. I have no nobody knows why it's there. But Gene Wilder's is just doing his thing. Like, God, what a crazy man.
So what's your last one then?
My last one is one that is equally like, it's kind of like more scary now that I've read the books. So Half-Blood Prince is easily one of my favorite Harry Potter movies. I would dare say I think it's also one of my favorite books as well, up there with Goblet of Fire. But the Inferni attack, whenever Dumbledore has finally drunk the entire basin. And Harry has to go down to go get the water. First, that whole scene in general, that the entire cave scene is incredibly tense and being broken with creatures that. What's crazy is in the book, obviously they mention the Inferni earlier in the book, so you're kind of half ready for them when they show up. Whereas in the movie, they are not mentioned at all. And so they come out of nowhere and you have no idea what they are. And all you know is, Harry has to fight these guys on his own. Like, good luck, buddy. Just absolutely horrifying. I don't know how else to describe, because I know a lot of people have seen Harry Potter. So a lot of people know what I'm talking about. But yeah, just these like half skeleton, half like human souled people just trying to drag you down with them. It's very almost like the souls in the swamp in is it Return of the King or Two Towers? I think it's Two Towers. That drag try to drag Frodo down. Gosh, terrifying. I'm just not a fan. I guess I'm not a fan of things in water that are dangerous.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Again, segues this perfectly to my last thing, because this is a thing that emerges from the water, and also, still to this day, I can't really watch because it just triggers some childhood PTSD, and that is the snake from the first live-action Jungle Book. We've talked about this before on the podcast, but screw this movie. My parents love it, and it's a good movie, but when people die, like Bruce Willis, they die hard, and gosh, there's some brutal deaths in this movie. Whatever. But the snake is the worst thing about this movie. The snake in the Jungle Book is the single reason why I am afraid of snakes to this day. I hate snakes because of this movie. The snake, granted, I've seen it nowadays, and the CG's not great, but it's the buildup. It's that Jaws mentality. What you don't see is so much scarier, and you just see gold move up and down in the water because it's the snakes moving. And then I feel like you see an actual like snake slither through before you see the thing. It is terrifying, and it has no right to be that scary. It's just like the monkeys have this reverence for it. It's a terrifying snake, even if the CG's bad. Take away that. There's a whole Mount Rushmore of other candidates from this Jungle Book movie that could be the scariest non-horror movie moments. How about this guy that gets shot in the leg and goes down to a chamber filling up with salt? And it's salt getting into his open wound, and he drowns in salt. Or a man very grounded and brutally getting drowned by quicksand, which taught a whole generation of kids to be much more paranoid about quicksand than they actually need to be. But it's like he's
I thought
choking and
was gonna be a
gagging
bigger
on the
deal.
quicksand. Or the other one when that guy is being stalked by Shere Khan and he's like fumbling with the bullets and whatnot. He's just like, and then all of a sudden he turns around and he just gets mauled by a tiger. It's glorious. But the snake from the Jungle Book as a whole is not a scary movie. It is a lighthearted kids movie. But the 2 scenes that the snake is in drove me away from that movie for close to 2 decades, and still to this day makes me not like snakes. This movie should not be as terrifying as it is, but it is because of these few scenes. It should not be this scary, but it is.
That was one of those movies that I got from the library as a kid because I think pretty sure it's just PG, which is hilarious.
I think it's
just
G.
Yeah. Which is hilarious. Yeah, that's even funnier. But yeah, like I think watched it like once or twice, but that's all it took for me to remember that stinking snake, man. Oh, jeez. And like also to being the point of like when I watched the Mortal Kombat movies, I was like, hey, isn't that Mowgli?
Jason Scott Lee, and then also Lena Headey from Game of Thrones is in it, Carrie Elwes and John Cleese.
Stop. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Mortal Kombat, and I was like, no. I don't want to talk about Mortal Kombat.
No, there's a whole bunch of famous people in that Jungle Book. It's super weird. Sam Neill from Jurassic Park, bringing it back to Jurassic Park again.
It's a full circle. It's a circle of life.
Honorable mention to Simba's dad just getting mauled.
So like, because I think that's definitely the question is like, people are always like, scary scenes in non-horror movies. Okay, cool. So like what constitutes as horror in your mind? Because like there's a lot of lists I saw that was definitely just like, oh, this scene's a little tense. So that it's kind of horror-esque. Okay, sure, whatever. But
whatever
like the
that
scene,
means.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't put it on here is because I've never seen this and I'm probably gonna get shot for this. But I guess the scene with the pale man in Pan's Labyrinth. I've never seen Pan's Labyrinth, so I didn't put it here. But I've seen the clip and it is absolutely horrifying. So I just like it's very interesting to see what people consider a quote unquote non-horror movie. But yeah, it's gosh, there's no kids movies shouldn't be as scary as they are. Like, what? This is not fair.
No. Well, what do you guys think? What are some of the scariest moments you've ever seen in non-horror related movies? They could be animated, family-friendly movies, whatever you want that's not horror related. What like terrified you the most in a non-horror movie? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you see and want to see more, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe us on YouTube. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers now. You've been great to get us to 700. Let's get us to 1,000. Also, check back in 3 weeks. We've got the grand 200th episode that we've been putting together for a really long time now. Really like how it turned out. Nice look back at all that has been with the Uncharted Media Podcast. It'll be a good time. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.